Prairie Day. Soft whistling were close to Laura's ear, and grain rattled into the feed box. Pa was giving Pet and Patty their breakfast. "Back, Pet, don't be greedy," he said. "You know it's Patty's turn." Pet stamped her foot and nickered. "Now, Patty, keep your own end of the box," said Pa. "This is for Pet." Then the little squall from Patty. "Ha, got nip, didn't you?" Pa said. "And serve you right. I told you to eat your own corn." Mary and Laura looked at each other and laughed. They could smell pecan and coffee, and hear pancakes sizzle, and they scrambled out for bed. Mara could dress herself all but the middle button. Laura buttoned that one for her. Then Mary buttoned Laura all the way up to back. They washed their hands and face in the tin wash basin on the wagon steps. Ma combed every snarl out of their hair, while Pa brought fresh water from the creek. Then they sat on the clean grass and ate pancakes and bacon and molasses from the tin press in their laps. All around them shadows were moving over the waving grasses while the sun rose. Meadow larks were springing straight up from the barrel of grass in the height. Clear sky, singing as they went. Small prairie cloud dips in the intense blueness overhead. In all the way top, tiny birds were swinging and singing in a tiny voice. Pa said they were dick whistles. "Dicky, Dicky," Laura called back to them. "Dicky bird." Is your breakfast, Laura," Ma said. "You must mind your manners, even if we are 100 miles from anywhere." Pa said mildly, "It's only 40 miles to Independence caroling. And no doubt there's never or so nearer than that." 40 miles then, Ma agreed. "But whether or no, it is not good manners to sing at table or when you're eating," she asked, because there was no table. There was only the enormous empty prairie with grasses blowing in waves of light and shadow across it, and the great blue sky above it, and birds flying up from it and singing wild joy because the sun was rising. And on the enormous prairie, there was no sign that any other human being had ever been there. In all that space of land and sky stood the lonely, small covered wagon, and close to it sat Pa and Ma, and Laura, and Mary, and baby Carrie, eating their breakfast. The Mustang munched their corn, and Jack sat still, trying too hard not to beg. Rora was not allowed to feed him while she ate, but she saved bits for him. And Ma made a big pancake for him for the last of the battle. Rabbits were everywhere in the grass, and the thousands of prairie chickens. And Jack could not hunt his breakfast that day. Pa was going hunting and Jack must guard the camp. First Pa and Pet and Patty on their picket lines. Then he looked the wood tub from the side of the wagon and filled it with water from the creek. Ma was going to do the watching. Then Pa stuck his sharp hat in his belt. He hung his powder horn beside the hatches. He put the patch box and the bullet pouch in his pocket, and he took his gun on his arm. He said to Ma, "Take your time, Caroline. We won't move the wagon till you want. We've got all time there is." He went away. For a little while they could see the upper part of him above the tall grass, going away and growing smaller. Then he went out of sight and the prairie was empty. Mary and Rora watched the dish while Ma made the beds in the wagon. They put the clean dishes near in their boxes. They pick up every scattered twig and put it in the fire. They scratch wood again, awaken rear. Then everything about the camp was tidy. Ma brought the wooden pinnacle of soft salt from the wagon. She curled up her skirts and rolled up her sleeves, and she knelt by the tub on the glass. She was as still and pillowcases and white under things. She washes dress and shirts, and she rinsed them in clear water and spread them on the glass She washed dresses and shirts, and she rinsed them in clear water and spread them on the clean glass to dry in the sun. Mary and Rora were exploring. They must not go far from the wagon, but it was fun to run through the tall grass, in the sunshine and wind. Huge rabbits bounded away before them. Birds fluttered up and settled again. The tiny dicky birds were everywhere, and their tiny nests were in the tall weeds. And everywhere were written brown strips of fur, golfers. These little creatures looked soft as velvet. They had bright round eyes and grinning noses and wee paws. They popped out of holes in the ground and stopped up to look at Mary and Rora. Their hind legs fall under their haunches. Their written paws fall tight to their chests. And they look exactly like bits of dead wood sticking out of the ground. Only their bright eyes glittered. Mary and Laura want to catch one to take to Mars. Again and again they almost had one. The golfer would stand perfectly still until you were sure you had him his time. Then just as you were touching him, he wasn't there. There was only the rough hole in the ground. Laura ran and couldn't catch him. Mary sat perfectly still beside the hole, waiting for one to come up. And just beyond her reach, Gopher screamed merrily, and Gopher sat up and looked at her. But not one ever come out of that hole. One's shadow floated across the grass, and every Gopher vanished. A hawk was sailing overhead. It was so close that Laura saw it. Crowing loud eye turned down to look at her. She saw its sharp break and its savage claws curled ready to pounce. But the hawk saw nothing but Laura and Mary and round, empty holes in the ground. It sailed away looking somewhere else for its dinner. Then all the little Gopher came back again. It was nearly noon then. The sun was almost overhead. So Laura and Mary picked flowers from the weeds, and they took the flower to Ma instead of Gopher. Ma for folding the dry clothes. The little panties and petticoat were whiter than snow warm from the sun, and smelling like the grass. Ma laid them in the wagon and took the flowers. She admired equally the flowers that Laura gave her and the flowers that Mary gave her. And she put them together in the tin cup full of water. She set them on the wagon step to make the camps pretty. Then she split 2 cold corn cakes and spread them with molasses. She gave one to Mary and one to Laura. That was their dinner, and it was very good. Where is the purpose, Ma? Laura asked. Don't speak with your mouth full, Laura, said Ma. So Laura chilled and swallowed, and she said, I want to see Papoose. Mercy on us, Ma said. Whatever makes you want to see Indian? We will see enough of them, more than he wants to. I wouldn't wonder. Do you want to hurt us, would they? Mary asked. Mary was always good. She never spoke with her mouth full. No, Ma said. Don't get such an idea into your head. Why don't you like India, Ma? Laura asked, and she caught a drift of molasses with her tongue. I just don't like them, and don't reach your finger, Laura, said Ma. This is Indian country, isn't it? Laura said. What did you come to their country for if you don't like them? Ma said she didn't know whether this was Indian country or not. She didn't know where the Kansas line was, but whether or not the Indian would not be here long. Pa had word from a man in Washington that the Indian Territory would be open to settlement soon. It might already be open to settlement. They could not know because Washington was so far away. Then Ma took the sad lion on out of the wagon and hid it by the fire. She sprinkled a dress for Mary and a dress for Laura and a written dress for baby Carrie. In her old spring carriage, she spread a blanket and sheet on the wagon seat and she ironed on the dresses. Baby Carrie slept in the wagon. Laura and Mary and Jack lay on the shady grass beside it, because now the sunshine was hot. Jack's mouth was open and his red tongue hung out. His eyes blinked sleepily. Ma hummed softly to herself while the iron smoothed all the wrinkles out of the written dresses. All around them, to the very edge of the world, there was nothing but grasses waving in the wind. Far overhead, a few white puffs of clouds sailed in the thin blue air. Laura was very happy. The wind sang a low, lushing song in the grass. Grasshoppers laughing quivered up from the murmurous prairies. A buzzing came faintly from all the trees in the creek bottom. But all these sounds made a great, warm, happy silence. Laura had never seen a place like so much as this place. She didn't know she had gone to sleep until she woke up. Jack was on his feet, wagging his drum tail. The sun was low, and Pa was coming across the prairie. Laura jumped up and ran, and his long shadow scratched to meet her in the waving grasses. He held up the game in his hand for her to see. He had a rabbit, the largest rabbit she had ever seen, and 2 plump prairie hens. Laura jumped up and down and clapped her hands and squealed. Then she caught hold of his other sleeve and he petty-hopped through the tall grasses beside him. This crunchy graham jam came. He told her, I saw 50 deer. If I saw one, an antelope, squirrel, rabbits, birds of all kinds. The creek's full of fish. He said to Ma, I tell you, Karen, there's everything we want here. We can live like kings. That was a wonderful supper. They sat by the campfire and ate the tender, savory, flavor milk till they could eat no more. When at the last Laura sat down her plate, she sighed with contentment. She didn't want anything more in the world. The last color was fading from enormous sky, and all the level land was shadowy. The warmth of the fire was prisons because the night winds was cold. Poppy birds called sadly from the woods down by the creek. For a little while, mockingbirds sang. Then the star came out, the birds were still. Strawberry puff fiddle sang in the starlight. Sometimes he sang a little, and sometimes the fiddle sang alone, sweet and thin and far away. The fiddle went on singing. None knew thee but to love thee, oh dear one of my heart. The large bright stars hung down from the sky. Roller and roller they came, quivering with music. Laura gasped, and Ma came quickly. What is this, Laura? She asked, and Laura whispered. The stars were singing. You better be asleep, Ma said. It is only the fiddle, and it's time. Little girls were in bed. She undressed Laura in the firelight and put her nightgown on and tied her nightcap and tucked her into bed. But the fiddle was still singing in the starlight. The mice were full of music, and Laura was sure the parts of it came from the great bright star swinging so low above the prairie. วันนี้ครอบครัวของลอร่าได้มาถึงจุดที่เขาต้องการตั้งแคมป์ลอร่าได้บรรยายถึงความสวยงามของชนบทในอเมริกาคุณแม่บอกว่าตอนนี้เราอยู่ที่แคนซัสแต่ไม่รู้ว่าเส้นขอบของแคนซัสไปถึงไหนคงจะต้องมีการตั้งแคมป์กันอยู่ที่นี่สักพักเพราะพาได้เข้าไปในป่าแล้วไปฮันติ้งเขาได้กระต่ายป่ามาเพื่อเอามาทำอาหารกินรวมทั้งสัตว์อื่นด้วยพาบอกว่าเขาได้เจอสัตว์ต่างๆในป่าจำนวนมากมายที่นี่อุดมสมบูรณ์มากในส่วนของเด็กๆอย่างลอร่าและแมรี่ได้นอนชมท้องฟ้าไม่ว่าจะเป็นในช่วงกลางวันหรือกลางคืนที่เต็มไปด้วยแสงดาวและแสงดาวที่เหมือนอยู่ใกล้กับการเอื้อมมือขึ้นไปที่เขาสามารถจะจับได้วันนี้ทั้งมาและพามีความสุขมาก็ฮัมเพลงในขณะที่รีดผ้ากับเด็กๆส่วนพาก็ร้องเพลงในตอนที่ยามค่ำและหลังมื้ออาหารมื้อเย็นอาหารมื้อเย็นของคนอเมริกาเรียกว่าซัปเปอร์เขาไม่ได้เรียกว่าดินเนอร์ความสุขแบบนี้แหละเป็นความสุขที่สุดในโลกแล้วเราพบกันใหม่ในตอนที่ 7ขอบคุณและสวัสดีทุกท่านค่ะ